Good morning, La Casa de Cristo. A beautiful Sunday morning here on campus. A welcome to all of you joining us online. This is Holy Trinity Sunday. You heard a wonderful sermon this morning by Pastor Jeff, reminding us of what it means to be born again every day of our lives as Christians living in the name of the triune God. We're glad you're here with us this morning. This is that which takes place in between the before and the after. This is the Interlude. And we have a special guest with us today, Mike Downey. Come on in here, Mike. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for all your music that you supply for us here at the church.
Well, thank you, Pastor Matt. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. And you were part of our worship again this morning, playing your instruments. I want you to kind of give us a rundown of the different instruments you're playing, because I noticed you don't not only have just one, but you have multiple instruments. So
I didn't leave very many of them at home today.
Okay.
I brought them with me, yes.
So tell us one by one these different instruments that you're playing and what you use them for.
Okay, certainly. I can do that. This one thing I really love to talk about is the trumpet. And I'll start out with saying that I read somewhere that trumpet is mentioned somewhere between 123 and 129 times in the Bible,
Wow.
depending on the version that you're reading. So there's a presence there in terms of the Psalms and for proclamation and Easter, but it's very versatile for other things. And that's let me give you just a quick tour through some of the instruments I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 trumpets with me. And somebody asked me one day, how many trumpets do you own? And I don't know.
Oh, my.
A few years ago, I took them all out, put them on the floor, went to the next room to get a big pan and took a picture, but I haven't done it since. They follow you home. That's one thing. Probably the one that I use here the most often is this. This one is in the key of C, which is the same key as the organ, the piano, violins, singers. So I'm going to be able to read the same music out of the hymnal, and it is kind of a workhorse for being here in church and playing. So I don't know. I'll play a little bit of the hymn. Can you have me here? So I can read
Beautiful.
right from the hymnal. It's very convenient. Plus, it has a sound that works for most music. There's another one here, which I'm using for the prelude. There's a number we're doing called Entrada. And let me see if I can get that out and give you a sample. The B-flat trumpet is probably the most popular trumpet you'll see. If you see jazz music, if you go to a musical in a Broadway show or a gamage, a lot of times you'll see a B-flat trumpet being used because that's kind of the standard. I always start playing on this and then I go to the other instruments. And so I'll play a little start on the Entrada, and you'll hear this again later if you're coming to a service here at 9:15. So that's the B-flat trumpet. It's the workhorse. The next one I'll show you is also in the key of B-flat, so that's the same fingering, but it's a much more mellow instrument. It's called a flugelhorn, and if you go to the Musical Instrument Museum up in North Phoenix, you'll see a lot of these. I was kind of surprised. I thought it was something more modern, but these things go back in history a very, very long way. I'll play the same thing, and you can hear the difference in the sound. So it's just very mellow and calming. If there's a slower song like we do following the sermon, it's more appropriate. It's very soft and welcoming. Now the last one I'll show you that I brought today is called a piccolo trumpet. And one of the things we're doing right after the sermon is we're playing a song called Holy Spirit, but it starts out with a melody that came from the movie The Mission called The Mission. Gabriel's Oboe is actually what it's called. So I am playing this, and I'm pretending to be an oboe player. And so it's up high and trying to sound like an oboe. So I'll play a little bit of that. So I'll give it a little bit higher. So that goes up pretty high.
Like I love the different traits of the different instruments and the ability that each one of them brings in something special for a particular song or style of worship.
Exactly.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy how you started us out in talking about how the trumpet is this prominent instrument in the biblical world. So what we're talking about here is not something that is newly introduced to worship or some kind of new innovation that we have, but this is a long tradition in celebrating and praising God. And I just think that's so beautiful.
And I'm so honored and privileged to be able to do this. I really enjoy it. And thank you for having me in and show off the instruments that I play.
You get to join a long line of horn players proclaiming to God. Now, how long have you been playing the trumpet for?
Well, I started in 7th grade, late, because I started playing singing in the chorus, and I realized that really wasn't for me. So 2 weeks into the semester, my mom went out and rented a cornet, and I went into the band and sat there and wondered what the heck I was doing. So eventually I got some lessons and learned, and I played through college, and then life happens. You have kids, you have a job, and I kind of set it down for a few years. Played at Easter and Christmas. And probably about 15 years ago, Jennifer, who's the music director here, helped me get connected with some people who could get me back up and running on the trumpet. And ever since, I've been taking private lessons and learning and trying to catch up with all the people who actually studied music and got degrees in music. I'll never get there, but at least I'm working my way. It's a continual improvement and learning process, and really, really enjoyable.
That's so wonderful. I appreciate your dedication to it. If there's anybody watching online today that is interested in music and just wants to get more into it, what would be your encouragement for them?
Well, find somebody who is knowledgeable in the subject, and if somebody wants to talk to me about it, I'm open to that. We can do it that way. Just listen to music, determine what kind of an instrument you might want to try. Piano is a really great place to start, and a lot of people like to play the guitar. And by the way, those are a little more user-friendly for family gatherings than the trumpet is.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you for all the gifts that you bring here to the church. We know that we always love to hear your music, and you're always welcome here to bring your horns into our worship. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Matt.
And thank you to all of you for joining us online here for this beautiful Sunday morning at La Casa de Cristo. This has been The Interlude.